What up, y'all, and welcome to another Elev8. Tonight, we got Hoodrattshit. This dude's stuff is amazing. Man, he's all over the place. His art is phenomenal, but he's doing these really cool glasses, amazing, motocross guy. All around, this guy is a G. And I'm really excited to be able to get to hang out with this guy, get to know a little bit more about him, and I'm super excited about this. Really quickly, I'd like to mention we got our Elev8ambassador.com program. Check it out. Help us promote Elev8 and all the wonderful things about it. Also, we have Elev8 Veterans. Check that out. It's a really cool thing. Anyways, let's get into Elev8 with Hoodrattshit. Super cool. Welcome. We got Hoodrattshit here today, and thanks a lot for joining us, Hood. I really appreciate it. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I want to say thanks for joining us. And my big question is, how did you get into this craziness of glass?
I'm kind of an older guy. I'm 43 years old.
Me too.
I got into glass. I worked in a head shop when I was 18. And I kind of saw the guys coming in selling glass and having like gun cases full of things, and I was like, "Hey, how did you get into that, man? Like, how do you do that?" But, back then it was really secretive, so people they didn't share knowledge very easy, and they were always like, "Nah, man, it's not really for you. It's not for you to teach me." And I guess he must have got hard up for some money or something. He came back one day and offered me lessons for $1,700. He said he'd apprentice me for $1,700, but I had to buy all my own equipment.
Okay.
So I was apprenticeships. I had to buy my own equipment, and I just barely had a kid. I was a new father. I was working behind the counter of a head shop, so not getting paid very well. So I was like, $1,700, man. How am I going to get that? I did own a brand new GSXR 1000 bullet bike, so I took that to the bullet bike shop, to the Suzuki dealership, and I sold it for next to nothing, just so I could get that $1,700 because I wanted to learn how to cook glass so bad. That's where it all started.
Man, and that's a big sacrifice. I mean, like to go down that path. You have your kid that's just being born, and you like that's crazy to go down that path.
Yeah, the motorcycle was that's what the sacrifice. And I was like, I just had a kid. I don't really need this motorcycle anymore. It was for fun times, and now it's time to be dad.
So more than a sacrifice, a huge investment into who you are today.
Yeah.
Man.
And, and then that was back in 1998 when I started, and then I quit in 2007. I started riding motocross. I went on tour with Cottonmouth Kings and was going to them for a while down in Southern California, and I started meeting all the Metal Militia guys and hanging out with all those guys, and I started riding motocross. I was like, man, this is way funner than blowing glass, and I was getting paid to do it, so I started doing all that, and that pulled me away from glass blowing for about 10 years. I've been back on the torch for about 3 now.
Okay. And then, so what brought you back into glass then?
I was working at a detention center for kids, for teenagers. It was for like 12-year-olds up to 18-year-olds. And there's autistic kids there and all different kinds, walks, but for bad kids. Mm-hmm. And one of the kids there who was getting ready to graduate, he reminded me a lot of myself. And when he graduated, he was going to graduate unsuccessful. He was going to have to go back home and probably have to go to jail because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And he'd always fight with the other staff. He didn't have any problems, but he was always fighting with everybody. He was like, I just want to go home and learn how to blow glass with my brother. My brother's killing it. I was like, well, I know how to blow glass. And I haven't done it for a long time. I was like, but it's like riding a bike. You don't forget how to do it. I was like, I still got my Carlisle. Got everything. I just had to set up a little workstation. I was like, but it wouldn't take much. Tell you what, you graduate all your stuff, I'll teach you how to blow glass. And he was like, no, you don't know how to blow glass. And I showed him some of my old stuff that I did. It's like wrap and rake bubblers, double bubblers. When I got out of it, thing is dabs. There was no dab rigs or nothing. So showed him some of my old stuff. And he was so stoked. He was like, man, you gotta go check out these guys. And I could get fired for showing him things on my phone. So interested. So I was like, well, let's see these guys that are blowing glass. And he showed me coil and rhino. And I was like, that's not glass, dude. That's like resin or something. It's like, there's no way that's glass.
10 years was the techniques that went forward.
10 years, man, dude, like a lot changed in 10 years. A lot changed. I was like, that's not glass, bro. You can't have angles like that on glass. There's no way that's glass. I'm like, and he was like, no, it's glass, bro. I promise. So I started doing my research work, and I was like, holy shit, this is glass. So it sparked my interest back up, because when I got out of it, I was okay to get out of it. I was kind of slave driven, you know what I mean? Like I was doing
just production.
Production, pulling points for a week straight so that I could get all my spoon pipes made for this shop in Florida and all my spoon pipes made for this shop in California. And it was like slave labor, you know. I'm selling spoon pipes for $3.50 a piece because I have to compete with all the Indian companies and all the Chinese companies that are making stuff. And I was like, man, I feel like I'm just a slave here. And then I would work, when I would have a minute to do something, I would do like a sick ass wigwag bubbler with like 20 wigwag sections on it. And I had to flare a point and draw my lines in my point and stretch my point down and then wigwag it. And you had to keep your lines all had to be straight when you lay down, or else it looked like shit. Mm-hmm. And you'd spend a lot of time doing that. And you were lucky to get $150, $200 for a Sherlock. You were lucky. People would be like, no way.
People didn't know what the work went into that stuff at the time. Like the blowers did, but people didn't.
Yeah, because there's no social media, so people didn't like. There's not really none of that. So people didn't know the amount of time. They're like, oh man, you just blew that out of glass. I'm not giving you $200 for that. Go down to the shop and get one for $50.
Right.
So like that was the struggle, and that's why I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. When I left that, I went into motocross, and I broke both my femurs, broke my jaw, knocked all my teeth out. That's how I got all my chrome teeth. And I was down for a while, so I started a clothing company, which was called Flawless Felons at the time, and that was like our motocross. And I turned that into a tattoo shop after a while, and then sold the tattoo shop and bought a food truck and did a food truck for a couple of years, and then started working at the detention center. And that kid graduated, and that's what got me back to it.
Man,
and he's still he dabbles in it a little bit, but he went into surfing. He went back to surfing, and he's not doing bad though. He's doing good. He's surfing and he's working. And
well,
I'm thankful for that.
It sounds like he kind of followed your route. You know, more of the physical stuff when you're younger. Get it out there, have fun, and then down the road, you do your body getting a couple broken legs or just getting older or whatever. And so maybe he'll come back.
Yeah. And I was like, when I'm younger, I was like, man, I ain't nothing. I'll walk it off. And now I'm like, oh.
No doubt. So how did you actually get your glass name?
So it was beginning, like I told you, back in '98 when I was blowing glass, it was Flawless Art Productions. That was my thing. I spelled it with a PH because I was like, we can make whatever you want. We're pH balanced just for you. That's why I spelled it that way. Then when I got back into glass blowing, I had already had my company, my shirt company going. That was Hoodrattshit, and that kind of just like everybody's like, you need to backpack these. You need to use your clothing line as your name for your glass. So
keep the branding tight.
Yeah, for branding, because I do have a lot of merch. I've always had a lot of merch because riding dirt bikes, you always break yourself, and you have to be able to live off your merch. So I just piggyback them together, and that's how. And I'm always, I don't know. I guess when I have a few rums in me, I do a little Hoodrattshit.
I love it. So yeah, you've been on the torch, and you actually started in '98. And I know you took off a minute, but '98, that is, from what I feel, that is like really when the industry was starting in '96, '98. So you're like an OG founding father damn near. And I know you got out, but
yeah, I did. I'll show you. You remember when Finding Nemo came out? They had the Finding Nemo toys at McDonald's back in like 2000 or whatever it was.
yeah.
World piece I ever made.
Holy mackerel! So you kept it.
Well, I didn't. I never got it cracked. It broke down the side. I never got his little fin on him or anything. But I kept it because I was like, my teacher told me you couldn't do stuff like this. Man, like look what I did. Like I'm gonna keep this and always remind myself that it's possible. But I just kept my box of stuff, and I've had this since the beginning.
And then you see Coil 10 years later doing stuff like it, and you're like, they told me it's not possible, man.
Yeah, exactly. You can see it was off the end of a point right there. It was pulled off of a point.
Do you still use points to this day?
No, now I coil pot now.
Okay.
I just what I did back then. I coil potted. I either pulled points, or when I did like heady stuff, I would flare my point, and do my lines, or I would coil pot little sections like bands, in Calmo. I didn't know it was called in Calmo back then. My teacher, the guy I paid $1,700 to, he taught me for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then he ditched me. He just left me high and dry. And he taught me how to pull points, how to do a rapid rate, and how to pull on things. And then he ditched me. He pulled a gypsy move on me. I went to the shop. I left one night. I was there till 8 o'clock at night. I was there till late, and he was there too working. I was like, all right, man, I'll see you in the morning. He's like, cool, right on. See you tomorrow. And I went back at 8 o'clock in the morning, and everything was gone. Everything except my stuff. My stuff was just sitting there because he had a little shed in his backyard. And he had moved out of his house and everything. He was gone.
Holy shit.
I was like, and I didn't even, I went in his house. I was just in his house smoking. No boxes, pets, no nothing. I didn't have no suspicion that he was leaving at all. And the next morning, I was just like, what the fuck?
Maybe he really was a gypsy, because that's what it sounds like.
It was full on. And I've never heard of him either. Way good glass blower. He was sick, man. He was doing badass wigwag shit when I met him. And he was bringing that kind of shit into our shop. And we were a pretty big shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. Mm-hmm. And his stuff was dope. Maria's on Radicillos and fucking all the cool shit. The big old horns off the sides. And his name was Adam Stone. I've never heard of him.
Huh.
I've never seen any of his work anywhere. I don't know anything about him. I ask everybody too. Everybody that's a big name. I'm like, hey, have you heard of Adam Stone? That's the guy that taught me how to blow glass. I'd like to ask him why he gypsied me.
Well, maybe with this, there'll be a little small hunt and he'll come around or something. I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Adam Stone, we're looking for you.
Yeah. So what items did you actually start with? Sounds like points. Were they pipes then, or chillums?
Yeah, spoon pipes is what I started with. I would do a little wrap end of it. I would put a string, you know how the old school way when you put it in the flame and it stretches off onto the point.
Yeah.
Like that. I would do that. And my teacher taught me to you had to do a perfect, so that you could get perfect. I started because I'm a graffiti head, that's my thing. I started slapping it on there, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. Looks like blood splatter. Then the stringers would go over the other stringers and glob up a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I'm gonna start raking that, and that's how that was my thing.
Hell yeah.
For sloppy rapid rakes.
But it's not sloppy. It's taking what you knew and turn it in. I mean.
Yeah. And well, like I said, my teacher was really precise about things. Everything had to be perfectly in line. All your welds had to be. There was no bridging back then either. There was no such thing as bridging. So it was everything had to be boom, heated back away, 4-point, boom, 4-point fucking weld, and everything would be perfect. There was no such thing as bridging. They didn't have that shit back then.
I remember the first time I
saw that. When I got back into it, I was like, what? That's cheating. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it feels like cheating, but then it opens up doors God, yeah. It's so much easier.
Well, because of the way I was taught, I consider it's not. It's really helping. It's not cheating. It's
the way it should be.
Yeah, it's the way it should be. Innovation.
And I think that's it. Like when the industry is evolving, you just don't know what you need or what's going to be there. And since everybody's just stumbling along, not sharing, how do you find out about that stuff until you're like, you mean I could brace this maybe? I wonder who invented that in our industry.
My home with Disney Glass, he introduced me when he was just here for our show we did last week. He introduced me to cold bridging. Like you come in and like you have a little post on. Oh, you're here for oxygen. Are we keeping this one, or did he say we're not keeping it? No, not yet. We still got a little bit in it. Here, come here. Okay. Okay, yeah, because sometimes we have two sitting there. Just right there. Cool, thanks, man. Sorry, we're getting oxygen delivered.
No worries, it's good. The typical life of a blower, just constantly working, interruptions happening, and
yeah. It's what happens.
yep. So have you taken any classes, and if so, do you recommend them?
Yeah. I've actually after that kid, his name is Tim. We'll give him a shout out. He showed me Rhino and coil, and I started looking at stuff, and I found Z. And Z is someone who I really like look up to. If you look at my work, some of my stuff resembles kind of her because I look up to her, like her artwork. I like making gory stuff and gross stuff. She does everything. She does a whole walk-up thing, but she's really good at teeth and anatomy and stuff. And that's I like making that stuff. So I took a class with her and Mueller at Glass Alchemy up in Portland, and that really opened up my eyes on a lot. I was like, holy shit, like you could do so much with this, because I was just getting back into it, and I just knew how to pull points and do a rapid rake and put some marbles on it. I knew how to do some dots, Chino cane, nothing like building a pin doll or some dentures, you know what I mean?
Right. But having that small background already from the past, when you went to that class, I'm sure you were able to absorb a lot more and understand.
Oh, yeah. I asked a lot of questions at the end, too. I was really like a sponge. I was like, hey, what about this? How come you can do that? You don't have to do this.
Right. And have you done any other classes?
I actually, he's a frowned upon artist, but I didn't know that when I first started getting back into it because I was a new guy. I had a D-Rock.
I've worked with D-Rock, and I really love his work, and he treated me well.
He treated me well. He's not, and from what everybody's told me, he didn't act like that with me. So I'll stick up for him that way. He came to my house. He stayed in my house in class at my house and stayed with me for 3 days. So I appreciate that. That was another huge eye opener on all the stuff you can do. And those are the two classes. I work a lot with pieces of art. He's really informative when he's working. He'll teach, so I learn a lot from him too. Because he's really precise on all his moves. Everything he does is measured precisely and done precisely. My shopmate Rob Morrison likes to tell me that I'm like a freestyle glass blower. He's like, you just kind of go for it. He's like, you eyeball it and then hit it. I'm like, it's like the motocross in me, man. I'm like, pick a line and go.
Right, and react when it's happening and make it happen.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Where do you get your inspiration and creativity from?
My inspiration, like I was saying, comes a lot from Z. I like her work. I like all the new stuff she's been doing. The little scenes of bricks and wheelbarrows and just weird floating devices. That's so cool to me. Like just the way the mind thinks and where she comes up with that. So it's really inspiring to me. I lot of graffiti, so I try to take that kind of stuff and work it into graffiti characters, like my little creeps I started doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're based off of a few different graffiti characters that I have hanging up at my house, and then I added the fingernails and the teeth to like the anatomy part of it that I like to do to like try to make
Give it way more care. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a preferred style or technique, like wigwags or just sculpting? Or
I like encalmo. I like doing encalmo sections, and I like wigwagging. I love coil potting and sculpting. That's my favorite to do. Is creating, like I said, little graffiti, little cartoons. I like cartoon stuff.
You love creating.
All my hands are 4 fingers instead of 5 because it's cartoon themed.
Yeah, getting on small things, getting that extra finger on there sometimes is difficult too. So
yeah, and some guys do it. There's a few kids that have watched me do my hands that are doing 5-finger hands now that look pretty good, and I'm like, man, you guys, that's that you watched me do it, and you figured out how to add that extra finger, so you're not copying me.
Right. Hell yeah. Yeah, usually I ask, do you have a period in time when you switch gears? And it sounds like you did have that when you went into
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can set it on the thing. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. Usually I ask, like, you have a period in time when you switch like glass styles or something, and going into motocross seems like a big thing. I guess when you came back to that and you took those classes, did you, like, I know it's not just pipes. Is that what really got you into doing sculpture work? Are the classes, or just?
Yeah. Well, like I worked with pieces of art. All right, thanks, man. I don't have to sign anything. Okay, cool. I worked a lot with pieces of art, and his sculpting techniques. He kind of sticks to aliens, and that's what he does. I wanted to learn a little more, so I was really passionate about it. So that's why I signed up for that class. And when I took that class with Mueller and Z, I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And then D-Rock came and gave me his little class, told me his insight on how he does all the different ways they all do it. I was like, man, like I can take all of that knowledge and twist it my way with the knowledge I've learned.
Right.
That's pretty much what I've been doing.
Do you have a favorite item that you make now, like a pendant or a certain rig?
Yeah, I like my little creeps. I call them creeps. It stands for Cannabinoid Reactive Experimental Alien Turf Snatchers.
I love it.
I had my fans, like some of my friends. I was like, hey, you guys, I don't know what to call these little guys. Help me come up with a name. And one of the people on my feed came up with the name, and I liked that one a lot. I was like, that's cool. Like I could brand that. I could turn that into like little plush animals maybe one day, and little all kinds of stuff, little creatures, like that. That's cool. I could make a cartoon of them or something.
I love it. There you are, just tying it in all together, the branding of it. How do I bring it into not just as this, but how do I make it all of part of this?
Yeah. How do I make it? Try to make them all different too. I try to make them all they all definitely have like the same body, same hands, same feet. But I try to make all their facial expressions different. Their mouths a little different. Their teeth a little different. I don't like to do the same thing twice.
Right.
Like making everything I make usually is pretty unique. So my jammers, my little jammers I make, those are pretty on point. Like I make those all kind of production style, all the same. But with my sculpting work, I like it to be one-off. I like it to not be the same. Each one needs to be a little different.
Quite unique. Yeah. Do you have a favorite color you really like to work with?
Yeah, I like turquoise from Glass Alchemy.
Okay.
That's my favorite one. I like the way I can get it to like copper out, like the copper in it turns to like a red haze. It gives me like little vein looking stuff. So I like doing zombie stuff. So that's my zombie color.
Man, that's really cool you point that out, because some people will say, I'm not touching any colors that have copper in it because these reds and this come out. Well, and there, an artist like yourself finds how to use those things that other people don't like and bring
Yeah.
it into your art.
Yeah, yeah. The reds look like vein, like they look zombie vein, like blood, like rotting flesh, kind of.
That's pretty cool. So with that, do you have a color that you don't like, that you're like, take it out of the
Yeah,
palette?
I don't really like. I don't like cadmiums. Like the like Crayola yellow, Crayola red, ketchup. I don't like those ones. I don't like any of those ones. They boil on me.
What about
They
when
boil
you're,
up after snot.
oh, sorry.
What's that?
What about when
Yeah,
in like line tubing and stuff? Are you all right with cadmiums then?
yeah. Like PDX tubing makes some pretty nice tubing. I use a lot of their tubing. But for like the stuff I love to do, which is sculpting, I can't coil pot it. I like to coil pot because I can add, when I coil pot it, I'll add more here where I need it to be, you know. And with those ones, they boil sometimes. They give me little scuds marks and looks like crap. I get.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like they're cool as long as they're coated. Otherwise, it's like
Yeah.
What's the most difficult piece you've ever worked on in your career so far?
I'd say the most difficult piece I did was the pumpkin theme piece I did with Frosty Fresh. It took us like a week to make it.
Wow.
And it had like pumpkins all over it, vines all over it everywhere. And it was just really, really technical, like placing everything. It was really stressful. So yeah, that was my most difficult one.
Yeah, and is that on your Instagram feed where we can see it then too? Or
Yeah. It's down there from last year sometime, but it's on there. It's like a tree stump. It's got an evil looking face on it with creepy hands and like vines all over it, all twisted up, and pumpkins everywhere.
Man, so how much time do you think went into that? That's two of you guys on there in a week. I gotta imagine.
And it wasn't we were working on these as well. We were like piggybacking things. So I mean, I'd say we put at least 24 hours into it.
Each, probably together.
Yeah.
That's gangster, man. Because when you, like you said, you start getting towards the end, it's really stressful. It's all that like, whoo.
Yeah, when it's all big and it's heavy on the tube, and you're like, oh man, I hope this holds. I hope this holds, and you're holding it over his whole like shop is a tile floor. His whole shop's a tile floor. So
if it goes, it's gone.
If it falls off the tube, it's done. There's no chance. There's no chance.
So with that, do you collaborate often?
Yeah. I really like collaborating. I like getting into other artists' minds. Seeing how we can like take. It's like when you in art class, when your teacher gave you a shape on a piece of paper, and she said, "Okay, here's the shape. You got to turn this into something." When I do stuff with my shop mate, other artists, I feel like I'm looking at their shape and I'm looking at my shape. I'm like, how can we make this work and turn it into something awesome?
Right.
So I really enjoy collabing. So I do it as much as I can.
It's like as extra puzzle working almost. It's
yeah.
That's pretty cool. Have you ever competed in any events or been a part of any events?
Yeah, my first event I ever competed in was Champs, the glass games.
Yep. Hell yeah. Did you have a lot of fun in there?
Yeah. It was when me and Frosty competed as a team, and then we competed against each other too. So
right on.
That was a good time. And then I'm also competing in the glass games coming up right now in the Scare Me category.
Hell yeah. Well, I look forward to that because I'll meet you out there at Champs then.
Hell yeah.
And then do you consume cannabis yourself?
I do. I was smoking right now. I prefer joints. I don't really. I mean, I make dab rigs because that's what the people want. That's what they're asking for, and to me, it doesn't matter. I could drop a flower stem in there. I could drop dabs them in there.
That's why I like rigs. They're just so universal. Whatever you want.
Yeah. But I smoke joints. My thing. I usually always have a joint in my mouth, and I'm smoking.
Right on. Hell yeah.
I prefer indicas. I don't like sativas. If I'm smoking a sativa, I got to be like, my mind's got to be busy. I got to be at home and like be in the middle of doing something, like be like out in the garage and like looking at something and take a hit of some sativa. Then all of a sudden, I got everything reorganized in my garage.
So it sounds like you're somebody that kind of sometimes just needs to chill down a little bit. There's so much going on, so many ideas.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then what can we look forward to in the future from you?
Well, my heady ditties that I'm doing right now. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's my glasses, the Dididium Glasses Company.
Yep.
So I can give glass blowers some fashionable glasses for their face, because social media is becoming such a big thing. Twitch and YouTube and Instagram and everything. It's all live. Everybody's wanting to go live all the time. So you want to look good while you're live instead of look like you're a shop nerd. So giving some people some fashion for their face when they're on their lives, they look good.
I love it. So you mentioned the Dididium glasses. Do you have different shades in those? I did see you have different colors and all that stuff.
Yeah, I have. Well, I partnered up with, I did a collab with Black Fly glasses, and then I ship those off to Philips Lenses in New Jersey. Philips does all my lenses. They engrave my logo onto the lens, and then I offer TrueView Shade 3, TrueView Shade 5 FP. That's a sodium flared polycarbonate, and we offer a split in just one frame. I have one style frame that I offer the Shade 3 and 5 split, and then I also offer the mirror that's new. The mirror that goes over that reflects the IRs. So your eyes aren't even filtering it at all, because it reflects right off the lens.
Oh wow! So that's new technology. Yeah. I've never heard of that.
It makes everything more blue. It's crazy. It lights everything up. You have to us being glass blowers, throwing our glasses around and taking them off all the time. You have to be careful with them, because they are mirror coated and they will scratch if you clean them with your shirt. They're gonna scratch. You have to clean them with the fiber.
Right.
It's the only downfall of the mirror tint. But everybody that works with them, like my friend Isby, my buddies over Big Tom and Mente 45K, and Goliath, they're like, dude, these mirror lenses brighten everything up, make it way brighter. You can see everything. So that's the upside, and the downside is they scratch easy if you're not careful with your glasses.
well, just be careful. And you mentioned glasses. I've found over the years, just don't even close them up too. If you keep them opened up, the hinges don't wear out. It keeps them from falling and scratching the front. So
yeah,
just those small things that maybe new blowers might not know.
Yeah, exactly. But then I also got a bunch of collab. Me and Isby, he does a lot of graffiti type hollow work. Me and him are working on some characters that are going to be in motion with, like that fish we just did. The fish that had the IS on the side of it with the bubbles everywhere.
Yep.
We're going to be doing a lot of stuff like that, me and him. Me and Rob Morrison got a couple things coming up. I got a whole wall full of collabs here. I got one with Big Tom coming up, one with Fancy Ancy, one with Pieces of Art, one with ScoMo, one with Scuzz Glass, one with Slugworth.
Man, you're a hustler. Good job.
Yeah, I got a whole line of collabs right there, almost ready. They're in line. I got them in line, ready to go.
Hell yeah. Do you find that you still have the same passion today as when 10 years ago you started and had a passion. So do you have is it the same passion, I guess? Yeah. My passion, sometimes I feel when I take shop orders, I get a little overwhelmed. I feel like, man, I told myself when I got back into it, I wasn't going to do shop orders.
wasn't going to be a slave to the man, but it's about getting your artwork out there and getting your stuff seen. So sometimes you gotta bite the bullet to get people to know who you are, because by it being in the store, they're going to follow you on Instagram and then possibly buy one privately off of you down the road.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the only part of the passion I hate about it, is thinking about that, the reason I got out of it. Like, man, I hate doing shop orders, but then I think about the positive side of the shop order.
Right, and there's always the positive and negative. So it sucks you do it, but you get more of you out there.
Yeah, it works out for the better in the long run. Yeah.
Do you have any shout outs or anything that we didn't ask that you want to enlighten us on?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to shout out to my brother, Frosty Fresh. He's kept me hustling, kept me grinding, taught me a lot about like how to move my glass and how to make it work. He's a very in your face kind of guy. Fucking, he's out there on live every day, all day, working his fucking torch away, and he's in his living room at his house. He works in his living room. His whole studio set up in his living room.
Nice.
So he wakes up and works, goes to sleep, and then he takes the weekends off. So shout out to Frosty Fresh for inspiring me to grind like him. And then my shop mates, obviously, Rob Morrison and Flexer Jones, and Pieces of Art for always being there for me and helping me learn new things. And Isby is a huge inspiration. And like I said, Z, shout out to Z for making cool shit.
Hell yeah.
And also my friend that recently just passed away, I give him a rest in peace shout out. He was getting back into glass, and he was the whole reason that I met Art. And he was just here and had a heart attack unexpectedly. So,
oh wow, my condolences, man. Yeah. That's never good.
I give him and his family a shout out and thank him. Let him know. Rest in peace.
Right on. Well, I want to say, and one other thing, where's the best places that we can follow you? Is it Instagram, Facebook? Do you have a website?
Instagram is pretty much where I'm at. I'm not anywhere else. I have a Snapchat, but I'm never there, and I have a Facebook, but it's pretty much just family stuff. There is a Hoodrattshit page on Facebook that you can follow.
Okay.
I don't interact on Facebook much. I'm more on Instagram. That's my main hub.
Check you out, Hoodrattshit on Instagram, and
two T's and rat.
Hell yeah, and we'll have that up there so people can check you out because it's important.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Also, let's give a shout out. Let's give a shout out to Solon for always backing me up, man. Like he's a huge inspiration in the art industry. So I want to give him a shout out too, Jeremy over at Solon.
Well, I appreciate you telling me of all these people because it really helps open my world and everybody's world. It's just a bigger network, and we go out and we keep looking and like.
Yeah, that's been my whole goal since I've gotten back into it, is taking my whole motocross. So I was in the motocross and tattoo industry for 10 years, so I'm trying to cross the glass community and the tattoo community together, because everybody that gets tattoos smokes weed. Yeah. And they don't know nothing about the glass. They just know where to go get tattooed and where to go watch dirt bike shows. They don't know how to go get glass. So I'm trying to make that bridge for everybody.
Oh yeah. I love it, man. I love the symbology you're putting out there. Just the art you're doing. I love it, man. Keep it up.
Oh yeah. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, it was a complete pleasure, like pure pleasure to have you on here. Thank you so much.
Hey, wait. One more shout out for the guy that made this happen, Trouble the Maker. I better give him a shout out. Better not forget that guy.
Yeah. I love that guy. He's really pushing hard out there too. I think.
Yeah, he is. He is. That's why I was like, oh wait, one more guy.
You really gave him a lot of inspiration too, man. I mean, he shouted you out a whole bunch and had a lot of love for you.
Yeah, I appreciate him making this happen for us. Like He's the one that did this for me. So thanks, Treble.
Man, that was really cool. It was more than I expected. As usual, these are great interviews. I'm so honored that he took the time to hang out with us. You know, his sculptural work is phenomenal. It sounds like he's really working in a neat environment down there, and it's really cool. I can't wait one day to get to work with him. And I do want to say much thanks because he decided to join our experience here. So much thanks, Hoodrattshit. I appreciate it. Y'all should go check him out. Also, I want to throw it out there. We have a real cool Elev8ambassador.com program. It's a really cool way to help you know, get our brand Elevate out there, and you get to help yourself as well. So it's a win-win-win scenario. We also got Elev8 Veterans. It's a 501c3. Check it out. It's really awesome. There's a lot of cool ways for you to help participate and do that stuff and elevate the world. Stay elevated and elevate. Mind, body, spirit.